Here's a rewritten version of your outline into a long, continuous article of about 10,000 characters, structured logically, but very different from the original. The final week of August promises to bring a cascade of complications, hidden motives, and dangerous decisions to General Hospital, as the world of Five Poppies Resort collides with the chaos of Port Charles. What might appear from the outside as a glamorous escape quickly transforms into a crucible of moral choices, power plays, and personal reckonings. The days between August 25th and 29th carry a sense of inevitability, as if every character has been drawn toward the resort with unfinished business and unresolved loyalties. At the center of the storm is Jason, a man who has made a life out of silence, instinct, and unwavering loyalty, but who now finds himself entangled in an operation darker and more elaborate than even his past battles have prepared him for. Five Poppies had been marketed as a pristine haven, yet behind its polished exterior lies an undercurrent of manipulation, control, and exploitation. Jason has sensed from the beginning that something about the arrangement was wrong, but as his days unfold in the resort, the truth begins to crystallize with terrifying clarity. He understands that Britt, who should have been his ally and his partner, is not free to walk away. The laboratory work she continues to perform is not simply scientific research, but the backbone of a much larger scheme designed to exploit her knowledge while holding her health hostage. For Britt, the bind is cruel and inescapable. Her dependency on carefully controlled doses of medication ensures that she cannot abandon her post without cutting herself off from what she believes to be life-sustaining treatment. This is no accident. Her employer has designed the system so that her survival depends on submission. Each payment, each vial, each promise dangled in front of her serves as both a carrot and a chain. The pragmatic side of Britt tells her that she must remain compliant, continuing her experiments in order to secure her supply, but a more desperate part of her longs for escape, even as she fears what withdrawal, or exposure, might bring. Jason sees this paradox with clarity. To him, the only solution lies not in obedience but in severing the cord entirely. Jason's plan, however, is nothing short of audacious. Where Britt has seen only walls, Jason sees leverage. If the boss who holds the keys to Britt's medication can be forced into submission, then perhaps the cycle of dependency can be broken. To Jason, kidnapping and coercion are not abstractions but necessary tactics in a war of survival. He proposes a strategy: seize the man who controls the lab, extract his knowledge, and use it to duplicate the process without needing him. It is a dangerous proposition, fraught with ethical pitfalls and practical risks, but it also represents the only path that does not end with Britt chained to the whims of her captor. Britt's initial protests weaken under the weight of Jason's conviction. Soon, the two find themselves drawn into preparations for an operation that could either liberate her or plunge them both into a deeper abyss. Yet while this drama unfolds in the shadows of Five Poppies, life in Port Charles spins forward with its own relentless rhythm. Lulu Spencer finds herself thrust into a new and unfamiliar role as she steps behind the wheel of Outback. What should have been an opportunity for renewal instead becomes a trial by fire, as Lulu quickly discovers that the weight of responsibility comes hand in hand with an unending stream of complications. Her natural determination makes her a capable leader, but leadership demands more than resolve, it demands the ability to navigate treachery from within. And treachery, in the form of Liesel Obrecht, soon arrives at her doorstep. Liesel's penchant for chaos and her knack for finding leverage where none should exist means that Lulu's tenure begins not with a victory lap but with a battle to keep control of her own domain. The undercurrents of curiosity and obsession ripple outward through the next generation as well. Rocco Falconeri, whose instincts have always been sharper than those around him may have credited, begins to piece together fragments of information that point to a reality no one expected him to see: Britt is alive. To a young mind, the revelation is intoxicating, transforming Britt into both a mystery and a forbidden truth. His fascination grows not only out of longing for answers but from a sense that the adults around him are concealing something significant. That curiosity will only intensify, threatening to draw him into circles of knowledge that even seasoned players struggle to endure. The stage is thus set for an escalation of events that cannot be contained within one single storyline. The resort and the city move like parallel streams, but both are fed by the same current of secrecy and confrontation. Jason and Britt's plan to topple their oppressor runs the risk of igniting a broader war, exposing not only the truth of the drug enterprise but also the depths of the network sustaining it. Lulu's struggles at Outback mirror the same pattern of entrapment, her independence tested by Liesel's machinations. And Rocco's innocence, once his shield, becomes the very thing that makes him vulnerable, as his search for understanding leads him toward truths that carry too much weight for him to bear alone. What ties all of these threads together is the sense that the characters are caught in an ever-tightening web of cause and effect. Every decision reverberates outward, colliding with the choices of others in ways that no one can fully predict. Jason's willingness to employ violence in pursuit of freedom sets him on a collision course with forces that will not yield quietly. Britt's dependence keeps her chained even as she dreams of escape, forcing her into complicity with actions she may later regret. Lulu's fight for control places her directly in the path of Liesel, whose appetite for manipulation knows no limits. And Rocco's curiosity positions him as both an innocent observer and a potential catalyst, a child whose discoveries could shatter the fragile balance the adults have worked so hard to maintain. The beauty and tragedy of this moment lies in its inevitability. Each character, in their own way, believes they are taking control, Jason by plotting an abduction, Britt by continuing her work, Lulu by accepting her new role, and Rocco by seeking truth. Yet each decision carries them deeper into a labyrinth where control is only an illusion, and where the true masters of the game are those willing to exploit weakness, fear, and longing. Five Poppies, far from being a retreat, emerges as the epicenter of this labyrinth, a place where escape is possible only through confrontation, and where survival demands choices that leave scars. As the final days of August unfold, viewers can expect not merely isolated events but a crescendo of stories intertwining with one another. The confrontations will not be confined to a single location or a single pair of characters, instead, they will ripple outward, shaking Port Charles to its core. Each revelation will lead to another, each clash to an even greater conflict. For Jason and Britt, the choice between captivity and rebellion looms large. For Lulu, the challenge of protecting her new role from Liesl's manipulations grows more urgent. And for Rocco, the journey toward forbidden knowledge accelerates, setting him on a trajectory that will change his life forever. General Hospital thrives in these moments of convergence, where disparate threads weave together into a tapestry of suspense, betrayal, and resilience. The week of August the 25th to the 29th will not be remembered for quiet resolutions or gentle reconciliations, but for the way it forces each character to confront the limits of their own power. In the world of Port Charles, survival is never guaranteed, alliances are fragile, and the line between savior and villain blurs with each passing day. For those watching, the only certainty is that the days ahead will deliver drama at its most relentless, and revelations at their most explosive. Would you like me to expand this further into a true 10,000 character length by weaving in more internal psychology, for example, Jason's struggle between violence and morality, Britt's guilt about enabling the drug operation, Lulu's memories of family legacy, and Rocco's innocence as a contrast to the corruption around him? That would push it to full novelistic scale.